There we go. Okay. Good morning. I'm Susan Cousino. This is the office hour for Oregon State University PDC Pro Winter 2026, Jan 5th to June 7th. This is call number 3, and the next lesson due is lesson 3, site analysis on February 16th, 2026. That's next Monday at 9 a.m. All right, so we're just going to let everyone in our waiting room. All right. Good morning, David, Merle, Oren. Well, we're a few minutes in, so I'm anticipating it's just going to be us. How are y'all doing? Thumbs up.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh,
good.
I'm going to turn my volume up or I can't hear you. I think we probably have to go through this every single time. You know, it's like you can put so many things on a to-do list and then it just becomes, turn up your volume. All right. How's everyone going with lesson 3? At all? I think, oh, David, you haven't submitted your lesson 2 yet, have you?
I'm almost wrapping it up. So I'm so sorry.
Okay. Hey, no apologies needed. I just, sometimes when I'm marking, I can see that you guys have already started into your lesson 3. So
no, I'm not giving up yet.
Don't give up yet. We've got a few that are still like, I haven't submitted my lesson 1, but I'll get it to you. I'm like, I'm going to send out a message later today. So, all right. Merle, Oren, how are you guys doing?
Well, I'm essentially done.
Okay.
I just have to proofread because I'm notorious for grammatical mistakes and things like that. And it is supposed to be a college level paper. So yeah, I need to go back and check spelling and such.
I like your approach. Do you use Grammarly at all?
Yeah. I mean,
That's easy then.
Yeah, I finished Saturday. I usually let it sit a day or so it's not too familiar, and then I can go after the writing again. And because I am unpracticed at writing, and I should be writing more, but we do what we can. And I've dabbled in lesson 4. That is a fun one. That's going to take a little more time, but you'll see it when I turn in 3. It's just going to be sitting there. There's we kind of pivot in lesson 4, which is really cool.
What are we calling lesson 4 now? So much has changed about this new template, and I've reviewed it and I keep finding things. So
4 is microclimates and zones.
Yes. Okay, there we go.
And so it's interesting. I had frost yesterday when the forecast was like for 37 degrees. Well, we're in a frost pocket.
You are.
We've got forests on both sides, and when the sun goes over the ridge, you can feel the cold air sneaking in and driving the warm air out. It's actually pretty cool. But I just have to select plants accordingly. It would take quite an effort to block that.
Sure.
I can mitigate it. So I need to, it's one of my primary things that I've noticed. And you'll see that when you see my microclimate picture. Sure. I did a close-up of a weed covered in little ice crystals. Hey, look.
And I wonder how much that can work in your favor, for instance, like for chill hours, especially through the summer.
Yes.
Stone fruit.
There is an advantage. I have a southwest ridge.
Right.
It created essentially another climate zone, because of its shadow capabilities. In the winter, after 2 o'clock, a good part of my site is in shade.
Yeah.
Instead of the 5 or 6 when sunset is. So I have a really long shaded part for a good part of the site. And the what few fruit trees I have are sitting in those areas. So,
Right.
And especially the fruit trees south of my house, they are buried in the coldest part of the site.
And you are in southern Oregon?
Middle. South
Okay,
Willamette Valley, but
right.
west in the foothills. So I am foothills coastal range. I'm right on the edge of 2 climate deals.
Right.
So I get to play the edge game.
Right. Okay.
I'm literally about 4 miles away from being out of the hills.
Okay.
But I'm just enough where the temperature is always lower here.
Right.
Which is really pleasant in the summer.
Yeah.
In the winter, it's just colder. Okay?
Yeah. And it's nice for folks on replay on the replay to have a good idea of where you are when you're talking about that. So, nice. Okay. And Oren, how are you hanging in there?
Sorry.
There you go.
My computer's a little slow. It takes a minute for it to all kick in, but good. I actually had my family over. My dad and 2 of my 3 brothers visited this weekend, and we got 90% of a fence built. So
great.
Check. Yeah, we're about to release the beast.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So that's
I was not wrong on the low hanging fruit. Easy win.
I saw that and I said she's an oracle. They know what's going on.
Yeah. Right.
So yeah, I've been appreciating all the feedback, and actually it's great someone actually mentioned on my lesson 1 assignment about smoke in the valley and how that has been changing, how people have been approaching gardening and the climate and all that. So yeah, it's been really valuable to have all this experience here. People giving good feedback. Clearly you, Susan, in the evaluations, and I've been just getting caught up on the content. So I haven't started on the lessons for this, the assignments for this lesson yet, but it is fun. I do like thinking about sectors when I'm walking the dog around the property and around the neighborhood, and just saying, oh, I hear the highway from here. Like that seems like a sector. Like, like there's this area here is where the noise is coming, and so it's kind of a nice lens to be looking at the world through while experiencing it.
Yeah, and that's one reason why, when students are coming in with a site that they don't actually live on or they haven't lived on, it can be really challenging, because that's where the sector compass is really helpful in having that. Actually, the reverse is like having that experience of walking around the property and understanding different times of day and different times of year is really helpful. I mean, I don't know if they included it in here, but there is a piece of wisdom from the permaculture manual of living on your site in a tent for a year before you move into a house or before you live in a building, because you'll get to know so much more. But I mean, whether or not that's accessible for everyone is a different question. But
definitely accessible, but I don't know if it's preferable for me.
Not necessarily preferable. So.
Might get a little cold.
Yeah. Well, as a Canadian, I don't know what you guys are all whining about, but anyway.
As a Michigander,
yeah,
I'll tell you, this is balmy. This winter has been balmy.
Yeah, it's very familiar. I know it's
so far. Yeah.
Yeah, well, here in the north.
Although we're expecting snow next week, so.
Right.
Oh, good, I miss it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But snow here is a couple inches usually, so it's like, okay, it's pretty, it's gone.
Yeah,
it's just fine.
Cool. Okay. Well, I'm going to do my usual little quick tutorial through the template. I think it's all pretty straightforward. So I'll do a pop over and do a share. Once I get there, we have it on the sector compass. Okay. Oh, come on. Okay, so we are on lesson 3. I'm going to mute you guys or ask. Yeah.
Can I ask sorry, just a big question quickly?
Go ahead, Oren, yes. Mm-hmm.
So I think with all these layers and objects and things we're drawing, everything is running incredibly slow for me. And I don't know if it's, I mean, my computer is, 2017 or something. So, it shouldn't be pooping out yet. I don't think. But it's not a spring chicken. And I did notice that for the base map, I did just do a screen clip and just have it be for the one that repeats. And that's helped a bit. I don't know if you have any other kind of tricks or tips for reducing the amount of processing that's happening on a computer, because mine's just a little bit older and I want to, it's actually kind of fun to have it be slow, because then I have to really think about everything before I make a move. But
yeah, certainly anything you can flatten reduces that time. That's probably the biggest gain you get is in flattening images and then re-uploading them as JPEGs, or if it's for instance like your base map, if it's just line work, just vectors, then flattening it to a PNG is a lot more efficient than a JPEG, which is going to be a raster image. Removing any of the information pieces, so you'll always have access to the original template through your course material. But once you're finished a section, and I think you've been doing this, Oren, but like removing all that information, because all of those links and everything's are sort of active in the background. Sorry, my little office assistant here. Let me see. Now, if it gets really, really, really slow, you could start deleting slides, like the one with all of the graphics, or any of the ones that have graphics that you're going to pull for your base maps and legends and stuff. You could just keep that in the original template and then copy them over to your project when you need them, rather than keeping the whole slide in your project, because those are all individual images. Now, they're very small file size graphics, so I don't know how much you gain from that, but I mean, it would give you, you can delete the slide. Any images that you're uploading, make sure they're probably in kilobytes is ideal, within a few hundred kilobytes. Make sure that they're not like original images that are saving at 1 or 2 megabytes. So you can do that by playing with the formatting before you've uploaded them. So just making sure that you've got a smaller file size. And if they, especially for the title slides, if your image isn't like crystal clear, perfectly sharp, it's okay, it's fine. Those are probably the biggest the lowest hanging fruit, and the things that'll make a noticeable difference. Okay, all right. Okay, and I can see you're muted now. So, all righty. Now, where did that agenda go? Need my agenda. Just to make sure I don't forget to mention anything. Okay, so your sector compass. Come on. All right. So now, if you're looking at older student examples, this is a little bit different. The actual sector compass slide. This one is a bit different. And actually, if you go back into, I think probably 2024 or pre-2024 slides, you might see an entirely different sector compass template. The idea is all the same. We've got different arcs, like you were talking about, Oren. Like say if this yellow arc was your highway noise, it may only be like 45 degrees over in this area. So you're going to be playing with those different arcs. It can be fiddly and a bit frustrating to get those working. Give yourself some time and patience to get the hang of it. And if they're not all perfectly lined up, I'm okay with that. Generally, what you're going to want to do is just like group them and then center them. You can center them, and then they should line up fine. Having the degrees going all the way around is a new thing. So hopefully these are aspects that are helpful to you, but they may make some of your editing a little bit more time consuming, or a little bit more fiddly. but it does help. The information is clearer here. So then you're going to want to just go through these aspects on the left, fill those out, do your information bar. It's pretty straightforward. It's kind of just follow the instructions. There is a video up on the top, and if I can get rid of the film strip, there we go. And then there's your instructions on the left here. So what is new in this? And I kind of keep reiterating like what's new in this template, because a lot of the student examples refer to old template versions. So I just want to make sure that if you're seeing something in the old template that's not appearing in your new template, that's why there was a big that transfer. So students have kind of historically struggled a little bit with the solar angles, or where to put them or how to use them. So they included this protractor diagram, so you get kind of a clear understanding of how to lay that out. Then just listing your solar angles. I think that's pretty straightforward. Okay, and then your site and regional challenges. This is quite expanded. This used to be 2 slides, and now it's gone up to, it's really 3, and then plus your SWOT analysis. Okay, yeah, so you're basically, the idea here is you're looking at all of your site and regional challenges. Starting with natural disasters, what's likely often for this part of the world. This is one of the reasons I really love I've got a very geographically focused or climate focused cohort. Or generally the students that I get are typically Western US or a comparable climate in Europe or other parts of the world. Portugal, Spain, France, primarily. I'll just stick with that. So your common natural disasters are very typically going to be wildfires, drought, flood, mudslides are the ones that I very commonly see. We don't deal a lot with hurricanes, which is an example, it's an issue for a lot of other parts of the world. So those are going to be your common ones. You might also have, if there's a local, now I'm going to come up with an example. Don't make me I'm not going to come up with an example. You might have others. Just go ahead and include them. You can list everything here. This is your brainstorm. And then what your responses available to you are. Get some images. Ideally, if your site's ever been involved, or your neighborhood or your region, local photos are really nice to have. And then just give me a source where that came from. I don't think there's anything too confusing there. And then similarly, what your preparedness strategies are going to be, any concerns or challenges. Like you may just be in a spot where if there's a significant wildfire risk, your best bet is to get out. If you've got a one-way access, that may be an issue. If you've got neighbors with, significant fuel and not being managed, anything like that, you might want to consider what the challenges that face you, whether it's a resource issue or challenges coming from outside your property or outside your system. Okay, and then just distance to these resources, your hospital, grocery store, population center, public space, and then anything else that might be fire station, whatever else it is. Choose your miles or kilometers, and you're done. Okay. Now the problem is the solution. This is where you can get creative and also can get stuck. Major wildfires, there's some opportunities that those present. Come up with something for your specific site. Your major risks like mudslides, floods. There may not be an easy solution or an easy opportunity that presents, but for instance, something like high summer temperatures, extended dry season, may be an opportunity to have a different type of system that has with plants that you're looking forward to, or more desert adapted or heat adapted trees, things like that. Or your frost pocket example, Merle, is a good one that presents a real opportunity for some different types of fruit trees that other people in your region might not be able to cultivate as easily. Yeah, let's see. Challenges. that you guys might face? I'd love to come up with some examples in the Q&A if you can think of anything specific. Okay, and then your SWOT analysis. This is going to be specific to the sites and regional challenges and your sector compass. So you guys have done these before. It seems like everyone's moving through those pretty smoothly, 3 to 5 points, specific detail. I don't see people struggling with this, so I won't harp on that too long. Okay, and then your disaster resilience. This is a design, what they're calling a design brainstorm. Here it is, disaster resilience brainstorm. So this is your opportunity to get, this is kind of your scratch pad design. So you're going to have your grayscale base map coming up as you've added it to your theme builder. And so here you can really outline any of the strategies you want to use. I see, it sounds like a hand up. Yeah, okay. Okay, I'm going to get to that. All right. Yeah, this will be where you can actually start to map out any of these resilience strategies. Water tanks, fire suppression, flood mitigation, drainage, anything like that. This is a good chance to take it from conceptual, which you've been doing in the previous slides, into your actual design exercise. Straightforward information bar, once again, coordinates, elevation. I'd like you to specify whether that's a min or max. I'm not seeing that in the template, and I think it's a good idea to specify it. And then your address or your approximate location if you're not including your address. Coordinates, by now you should have your scale ruler pretty down pat. If you're still struggling with it, reach out and let me know. Your compass rose and then your name. All right, and then your usual Q&A. If you're not, here, Oren, is another opportunity. If you're not using these questions, delete the slide. I have seen you specifically using those, so you could also take out this block. Any graphics and stuff like that, you can go ahead and remove. That might help speed things up. And then that's it for lesson 3. Okay, I'm going to go back, reduce that, undo my share, stop sharing. Okay, David, can you point me towards any good QGIS resources for solar site analysis? Because you are in the Gregarians community, I'm going to suggest you ask Georgie or Darren. Yeah, I mean, the resources in the template are going to be good generally for solar analysis, but specific to QGIS, they are really leaders in that space in this context. So I would reach out to them and find out and report back if you don't mind. I'm still playing with QGIS. I've used it for client work years ago, but most clients don't want to fork out for really detailed design work, which I understand. But yeah, if you find whatever you find, if you could bring it back, that would be great. Sure, thanks. Okay, Q&A. Are there any Qs? And I can A them. Yes, Oren, go ahead. There you go. Okay.
So on what is slide 41 for you, I don't know if anyone else is having this or has a recommendation, but so that pulls from the base map template piece. So I have an overlapping key situation where it's pulling my key, or my legend, sorry, it's pulling my legend, and then it looks like my legend is under, so I can just put a white box underneath it and layer it so that there's a white box over my legend, and then the legend that it's recommending there.
Oh,
but
I see.
Wondering if there was other there. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, so they've got a legend in the template, and then you've got your own legend. You can also
so my legend pops up from my whatever auto-populate slide, right?
Yeah, in the theme builder, yeah. And it's coming up over top of this legend. Is that what you're saying?
Well, those are transparent. So I guess I could just make them not transparent, but I just think I'm wondering if it's going to keep showing up that the format that's in the theme builder is not so doesn't mesh well with the formats in these templates, you know.
Okay, so you can modify it in the theme builder if you want to take that legend out.
So
Something.
So will we never need a legend when these show up? Because there will always be a different legend. You know, like why do we?
Oh, why have they included?
Why did we put a legend in the theme builder if, you know, I just don't want to delete a legend and then have to recreate it every time.
No, I understand your point. So let me see. I want to see what the background of this looks like. Okay. So there's no legend coming up here. Okay, so that legend, right? Okay, so and walk me back if I'm missing it, but this legend would be specific to anything that you're putting in place for disaster resilience. So
Correct.
if you've got your own legend, I mean, you can delete this because this isn't part of, I mean, even if it was part of theme builder, you could delete it and it would just delete it for all the slides that it was on. But you can delete that one, have your own that fits that base map, and add any elements specific to the resilience.
Well, I'm like kind of out of room on my legend, you know, like things are kind of packed. So
I'm gonna pull yours up.
Yeah.
So we can see. Right. Okay, there we go. Whew. Share this tab instead. Share this tab instead. Okay, can we see yours now? This is yours.
Yes.
Here.
So you can see what I did was I just made it white. I made it not transparent there. Like if you move that, you'll see my legend under it, right?
I can't actually move it because I've got comment only. Can you move it to show? Yeah.
Yeah. So this is, you know,
right.
So behind it is my legend for the base map.
Yeah.
Which Myrtle, David, it auto populates for you guys, I imagine too, unless you didn't put a legend in the theme builder. So
yeah, some people will and some people won't, because the legend is going to. No, it shouldn't vary actually if you're using the same base map. That's a really good point, Oren. That's a weakness of this, the way they've structured this.
Yeah.
So I totally understand. I see exactly what you're saying here. So if there's a number of ways you could tackle this, because there's no point rebuilding your legend every single time. Can you extend that legend? No, you can't extend it if it's in the theme.
Like I can't play with this at all. Like this is just background now.
Yeah.
And then
slide. You know what? You could do a second slide. That doesn't really help you either, because that you've got so much information on that legend.
Right. Like I feel fine going over it and just kind of like, for me, I'll know what is in my legend and what the new pieces are for this, but I don't know if that's what the.
Yeah, it's basically if you've got a map, you need a legend that matches it.
Right.
And you don't have a lot of lines to reduce.
I mean, David, what did you guys do for this? David.
Oren, I haven't gotten there yet. I just want to make sure I understand the nature of your problems. Are you just having trouble fitting everything on one slide, or what's the?
Well, the problem is I haven't gotten here yet either. I just know it's going to be a problem when I get there. But the problem is that I have a legend which auto-populates through the theme builder in the background. But then there's additional information requested, including like legend items specific for the disaster resilience brainstorm and resilience goals. So how do you make it all fit?
Okay.
I guess I could move these to another slide or something, but
yeah,
yeah.
I left the legend off when I imported my map throughout the whole thing, knowing if I really needed that legend, I can go back and copy and paste it.
Okay.
But you're right. The slides are only so big. They're going to print 11 by 17. And when I look at the slide contents, I'm not sure our original legend is that important to each thing that we're doing. Like disaster resilience is really talking about overlay elements. And,
Right.
I kind of started going through the map requirements. So I like future zone brainstorm. It's like, yes, that legend would be nice, but how much can I show?
Yeah.
You're going to force the reader to bounce back and forth a bit, but yeah, it doesn't really all fit.
I could see, and I agree. And our approach has been, you've got a map, you need the legend that matches it. Now, in this case, for any, and I'm sure a number of you are going to struggle with this, I would be fine if you used just a note, like refer to original base map legend on slide X. And then anything you add here for disaster resilience, add in color and note it on the new legend. So
kind of keep it like this, where I go over and the top of the legend will say for base map legend item C slide whatever, and okay, that works.
I will say that if I'm actually studying your package, when I get past that original base map that's in color and you've grayscaled it, I'm going to pretty much stick that stuff in my pocket and start looking at how you're interpreting it. That's me. That's how I analyze stuff.
Yeah.
But not everybody does that. So Warren has that's a great point. Is that, there, and you can treat it as a block, copy it down throughout the presentation, hold it off to the side, and decide if you want to import any of it. It's a little cumbersome, but you can do it.
Yeah.
I'm learning how the hard way.
Yeah.
Susan, feel free to say out loud that's not okay or a terrible idea, but I kind of ran into a similar problem when I was doing my base mapping with the legend. And because the approach I took was to start with a very, very, low level of detail base map, and then I broke it apart into base map, like sub base maps, if you will.
Yes.
That showed things like water and buildings and drainage and things like that. And then I had to create a special legend for each of those, and I just kind of resigned myself to the extra work involved in doing that. But it did greatly simplify the appearance of the slide, and it made it possible for me to just focus on those subtopics, if you will, in conveying kind of the base state of the property. But again, right. It's not okay. I totally get it.
No, and I always go back to the big picture of that. You're conveying a story, and what your base map is essentially the in the beginning, or the once upon a time of your story. And conveying that clearly relies on things like using consistent annotation on your maps. Like, don't use a red dash line for your property boundary on one and a blue, something else for your property boundary on it. The simple things like using consistent annotation, even consistent fonts, font sizes, font formatting, all of that conveys information. So make sure that's consistent. And if in this, consistent and clear, and if you need to break this into 2 slides to do that, like David, what you said, because you've got a larger property, right? It's like 300 acres. So you've got areas of high complexity and low complexity and high intensity management and implementation, and areas of low implementation and so on. So on a smaller property, you're not going to have that level of complexity, but you're still trying to convey that information in a way that's concise without losing too much of the reality. So I think both those approaches are good ones, and finding what works and conveys that information clearly in your mind is part of the process of, I mean, if you wind up doing client work, if even just the process of learning design is, how do I tell this story clearly, for someone else to be able to look at it and understand what's going on. So in this case, I mean, no, if they only had your disaster resilience brainstorm slide or that page, and it was like refer to legend on some other page, they'd be lost. But no one would ever be walking around with just your disaster resilience and be able to do anything with it. So I'm happy with that approach if that feels like it meets your goals. Yeah, and it'll meet the goal of keeping the number of slides down, because if you start splitting this, you've got more graphics and it's going to get slower and slower. The other, actually, I want to refer back to that. I'm going to stop the share.
Yeah, thank you. I think
that speed thing.
Good for me. Yeah.
Okay, one thing that just came to mind. Some students in the past have elected to like only submit the slides that like for that lesson, or only submit the slide. Yeah, actually that's been kind of the approach, is like, here's only my lesson 1 slides because it's easy to upload. It becomes very problematic by lesson 2, because I'm always referring back to your original site, your design site. What you can do is do the reverse if you want to just submit up to where you're at, because if you're working on if you're submitting lesson 3 and you're working on lesson 4, go ahead and include up to that. But only if you want to, just include up to what you're working on, and you could cut out lessons 7 through 10 or whatever until you're ready to work on those. That'll help speed it up until you get to the end of the course, and then you're going to be kind of locking up.
So would you then just copy and paste from the master, once, like, delete everything and then copy and paste each lesson at a time?
Yeah.
The slides, pull them over?
Yeah, you can do that. It becomes more cumbersome in different ways, but if it makes your life easier, that's because I don't look ahead to see what the next lessons are, but I do look backwards to see what you included in previous lessons. So that's another approach. Sending it by PDF is not a good option. So I've had students do that, and I'm just like, please don't ever do this again. Yeah. So does that answer your question regarding the legend? Yeah. Okay. You're good.
Yeah. And I think probably maybe mention it to the team, because I think it might be something that comes up for other folks or along the line.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. The integration of Theme Builder is very, very new and very different for this course. Previously, students only had to go into Theme Builder to change their name in the header. And I can understand why they've done this, because we had a lot of confusion about which base map they should include. And then if they made significant changes to their base map, they were stuck with having duplicated it across the rest of their assignment and having to go back and replace. It was a mess. So I can see the advantages, but yeah, this one's a clear, not so much. So, okay. Yeah, I'm really glad you raised that point. That's a good one. So, okay. Anything else from lesson 3 or otherwise?
Susan, just a reality check, in terms of like challenges that would be worth naming and talking about, are things like climate change and increasing water scarcity, and are those legit?
Yeah, and actually I did note it in my agenda, but didn't note it out loud. So I missed my point. Even like 100,000 year potential events, climate change is certainly one of those. There's different sites that you can go to look at climate projections. So if you're projected, a 2 degree or 4 degree scenario, what that's likely to look like, that's a good thing to include, because those are going to be real constraints that we're going to have to deal with. So sure.
Are those, Susan,
Sorry.
I'm sorry, just to follow up with something you said a second ago, are those sources you mentioned for climate projections, are they like locality specific or are they more general or?
Most of them are global.
Okay.
Yeah, some of them are national, specific to the U.S., but for the most part, they're global mapping resources
Okay.
that are projected.
Thank you.
And they should be
Yeah.
included because they've been in multiple instructor emails. So I will go into the resources and see if they're included. But I know as an instructor group, we've emailed resources back and forth, like, hey, I found this really good site.
Yeah.
For clear. Yeah. So.
Susan, maybe to bring that home a little bit, I know that right now, this winter specifically in Oregon, our snowpack in most of our high elevation watersheds is hovering between like 15 and 30% of average.
Right.
And I have every reason to believe that that's not going to change, for the better over the next 3 decades or so. But are you aware of any sources specifically that look at Oregon water availability based on the reality of where we get our summer water from?
I am not for Oregon.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm not. I'm happy to help you bird dog that if you need some help finding things. But I think, well, let's just see what usually it's something related to NOAA. I'm just going to start seeing Oregon snowpack projections and long-term trends. USDA is the first one that pops up. So predicted to see a 50%, this is statewide, 50% reduction in annual snowfall between 1950 and 2100, with the Cascade Range potentially experiencing a 65% decline.
Okay. That was NOAA, the one you just cited?
No, this is USDA. I'm going to drop the link. Your Oregon Snow Survey.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Yeah, I look at those for my river trips, but
Oh, okay.
River trips?
Yeah.
Tell us more.
I want to go out to the Owyhee. The first thing I do is check snowpack out there because it's pretty sketchy.
We're talking canoe, kayak, yacht?
Mostly raft.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Fun.
Okay, we might need to connect on that offline.
Yeah, because you guys are fairly close, are you not?
Oh, I don't know. Where are you, Oren?
Salem.
Okay, my farm's down Myrtle Creek, but I live in Eugene, and I mean, if you're interested, let's talk.
Oh, cool, that'd be fun.
That's down the street. Yeah.
Just down the river.
Yeah, well, down the river, yes, but you got to get there first. Yeah.
I guess up the river.
I'm west of David, 20 minutes, where we're at, no tie.
Which actually brings me to another question. Are there ever any in-person, office hours or just opportunities for us to get together, whoever is close by for
Oren, this question
potluck or a drink or something?
This question comes up just about every group, and it's funny because this group is actually the first I've had so many from Oregon, which is fun because this is the closest I've ever lived to Oregon. No, not formally, but I mean, you guys are welcome to organize amongst yourselves. I have had a few students meet in person on their own, and in Southern California, we kind of bandied about having an in-person connection, and then it hasn't happened. But it would be great, and I'd love to hear a report back. I love hearing from students after you guys have completed, like especially like a year or two down the road, like what happened, what's going on your site, or like you got to connect with a fellow student or whatever's going on. So nothing. But it would be fun.
I would propose, if anyone wants to host a site walk of their site, we can gather for a coffee or something, walk around and check it out. And I would obviously be happy to host people, but we can work something like that out if you were interested.
Sounds like it's time to get that camper RV thing set up. Yeah.
Oren, I love the suggestion, the question, and just I don't know if you guys are interested, but I would be happy to drive to wherever you guys are and walk your place with you, and try to tempt you down here. I know it's a bit of a huck to get all the way down to Myrtle Creek, but if that seems like it would be, interesting to you fellas. I would be really tickled to get a closer view of what you're up to, and also get your eyeballs on what I'm trying to do. Because every time I walk around my place with a new person and try to explain stuff, I inevitably learn something. It's so useful.
Yeah, David, you've got the entire book to work with. It's, with your site, it's, you're focusing on manageable elements first is your biggest challenge. Mine isn't as extreme, but I'm still dealing with acreage. Orange is a little more defined than I am. So that we have 3 scales here. I mean, it would be fun to have you guys come by and walk our site and look at the craziness that's here. As I browse through the rest of our class material, I think in about a month, my site's going to be really interesting because all of the first emerging plants are going to be flowering and coming up and be really visible. So why don't we tentatively plan something like that, and I don't mind driving down to David's thing, as soon as it's warm enough where we know the freeways aren't an issue. And I'd spend a day there. Your property is big enough to do that. Mine's just probably a few hours. Orange probably a few hours. But David, you've got what? How many microclimates do you have?
Nice.
You haven't gotten there yet, but you're gonna have a whole pile of them.
Yeah, there's a lot to see here. It's a great place. I'm always so happy to share it with people and again, to learn from what other people's observations are about this place. So I would, it's an earnest offer. I mean, if you guys are interested in pursuing that, I would really be happy to try to make it happen.
Cool. I vote yes.
Is really hard to. It's hard to beat. Just having more eyes and more more perspective is always. I'd love to see that happen, you guys.
Well, all right. So we can coordinate, but I think maybe we're maybe talking maybe once a month. We can someone can say I'd like to host people to do a site walk and bagels and a walk or something, walk and talk.
Well,
and,
keep in mind, you guys, you're very close to Dow, Orion, and Andrew Millison are, all kind of Southern Oregon, Eugene area. So, there's a good if they're able to coordinate. I mean, there's another opportunity there. I mean, I could definitely see in Oregon and even Northern California kind of meet up happening. So,
yeah, I think Tao's north of us a little bit, right?
I think, I'm not exactly sure where she is right now, but
Mid-Washington now, I think. I don't know.
No, she's over in Cottage Grove.
Oh, she was.
No, she's still there.
Is she?
I just saw her. I'm friends with this guy. I just saw her last week.
Okay. Well, then she's down the street. Yeah. That's 10 minutes south or 20 minutes south of Eugene. So that's easy. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, there's some good stuff at Cottage Grove, real established too. I wouldn't mind looking at some of that.
Okay, how about we work on the WhatsApp? We can get some time there.
Do it. Yeah, there may be others. So.
But yeah, I also think Andrew, at least Andrew might be able to, host something in person. One IRL lecture would be nice, I think.
Sure.
For the people who are close by.
There used to be a big permaculture convergence in the PNW. Let me see. Northwest Permaculture Convergence. So it's in the fall. So the last one was end of September 2025 in Spokane. I'm not sure how far south that goes then, but those are another fun way to get together. So anyway, alrighty. Well, if we don't have any more questions, I guess we can call it a day.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Well, thanks for showing up, guys. And this is fun. It's always fun. As always, feel free to reach out with questions. And have a good week.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks so much.
All right. Take care. Yep. Bye.